Good day and a happy new year to everyone across North America. I hope you all enjoyed the long holiday break and came back safe and healthy. This is John Garmendi with Sony's Professional Solutions of America, welcoming you to a special edition of our Tech Tuesday AV Solutions webinar. These webinars were started in response to the COVID crisis so that our customers, resellers, integrators, and consultants can stay informed and up to date on Sony's latest products and solutions. Today's webinar will highlight our groundbreaking spatial reality display, a product that has already been honored with Infocom's 2020 Special Edition Best of Show Award and newly announced CES 2021 Best of Innovation Award. A few items of housekeeping. As in previous webinars, there'll be an opportunity for Q&A, so please submit your questions via the GoToMeeting question panel. I'll post the links to information referred to during the webinar in the chat panel, and I will also post a link to our YouTube playlist where you can view all of our archived Tech Tuesday webinars. Joining me today will be Nick Colsey, Vice President of Business Development for Sony Electronics North America, and Nicole Harriman, Marketing Communications Manager, also with Sony Electronics North America. I'll turn it over to Nick now and join you all back here later for Q&A.
Thank you, John, and Happy New Year to everybody. I'd like to introduce the spatial reality display. This is a new visual medium for displaying 3D content without requiring glasses. So this is a glasses-free 3D display with a level of optical experience that has really never been seen before. Before I dig into the details, I'd like to show a quick video of some of the ways that we think it's going to be used. John, Chris, I mean.
Every single person that I've seen observe the display is just like, I've never seen anything like it.
実物を見てるみたいな、今までのディスプレイの概念じゃなくて、もうとにかく感じたのはもう物感すげえっていうことなんですけど。
You're literally looking at magic happen on the screen, wondering how it's working.
そう形をお互いに伝えるとか、もっと気軽にいろんな人の間にその物の転送をできるっていうことになんか半歩近づく感じがすごくリアルにあるなっていうのは思います。
Seeing it was kind of mesmerizing and kind of mind-blowing. You're not defining a set frame, but you're giving a window. You find yourself leaning around and seeing something.
We've all seen holographic effects, but this is one that you can see with your own eyes. It tracks your eyes and it's just got this depth that is just pretty magical.
人間の感覚に近い行動ができるってところが、すごいいいとこかなと思いました。
So the spatial reality display, you're getting a lot closer to what a human eye sees.
例えば東京と上海とか離れていたとしても実物大で、実体感ある形でお互いやり取りできれば。
結構デザインを確認する時ってこう質感を確認するために光の反射を変えて確認するんですよね。自然にこう自分の顔を動かして確認するっていうことが結構多くて、その自然な動作がそのままこのディスプレイによって実現できるっていうところはすごい驚きがありました。
This isn't just a clearer screen, more pixels, or a better sound. This is something new. It starts the cogs in your brain kind of churning, and your mind is trying to come up with, like, what can we do with this? Like, what can we do with this?
最初にそのスペシャルリアリティディスプレイを見せてもらって、映像であるのにそこにその物感というか存在感がある感じがもう明らかに違っていて。検討している企画者、設計者、みんなの意識っていうのも統合されていくので、効率は良くなるし、クオリティも上がっていくと思います。命宿り始めた感はすごく感じますね。
The promise of what's possible in these mediums is now becoming a reality. All of the things that we think are going to happen are going to happen.
Okay, so let me dive into a little bit more explanation of what this product is and how it works. So this is really a PC display. It hooks up to your PC, Windows 10 PC via HDMI and USB, and it can act as really a second monitor. So you would use your main monitor for designing and creating your 3D content, and then when you wish to preview it in 3D, as I said, without glasses, you would switch to this monitor and display that content in 3D. This relies on a powerful PC, Core i7 or above, running a 3D 4K graphics card such as GeForce 2070 Super or Quadro RTX 4000 or newer, or the AMD equivalents of those graphics cards. And you need to be running either Unity or Unreal, because that's what creates the 3D image for the display to render. And we see this having applications with filmmakers, animators, architectural and engineering community, automotive designers, and VR and AR content creators. And we'll talk about each one of these. But first of all, some of the unique technologies that are that we have innovated to include and make this display possible. So the key enabling technology for this is eye sensing. So this display knows where your eyes are at any point in time and is able to render a stereoscopic image directly based on the position of your eyes. And as your head moves, the left, right, up, down, forwards, backwards, this display is sensing that and presenting the most accurate 4K image for your eyes. And that's what gives the amazing picture quality, which we hope you will get a chance to experience in person. In order to sense your eye's position, we have a vision sensor built into the display. In order to present the image in stereo, we have a micro-optical lens over the LCD to direct the image, each pixel, to either the left or right eye. And we use a real-time rendering algorithm in conjunction with Unity or Unreal in order to keep on re-rendering the image based on your eye position. So let's look at all that in a little bit more detail. First of all, the vision sensor. So this is capturing your eye position based on AI and an interpretation of where your eyes are relative to your facial features. It's capturing that in real time down to a few milliseconds, and then based on that capture of your image of your eyes position, it re-renders the image very, very quickly. So just the very slightest movement to left, right, up, down in any of 3 axes, the image is re-rendered. So it follows tracks your head position very, very quickly. The micro-optical lens, as you can see from this enlargement, this is where the image is projected. Each pixel is projected either to your left or your right eye. So the 15.6-inch display is able to render 2 different images, one for your left eye, one for your right, and keep re-rendering those based on your head position. And this is really what gives such a accurate and high quality image. And then finally, the real-time rendering algorithm. So unlike some other 3D displays, which just render the image in one axis, this image is rendering, this system is rendering the image in all 3 axes, vertical and horizontal and depth. So the entire parallax of the image is being re-rendered, and that's what gives accurate 3D view of any object that you've created. From here, let's roll a quick video showing that, Chris. Let's take a look at the product in summary. This is the design of the product. The display is set at around about a 45-degree angle, but when you're actually viewing the display, you don't see the angle of the display as such. You see a three-dimensional object standing out from it, which is a little hard to explain on a webinar, but I hope you get a chance to see it in person. It really is an uncanny experience, and you know, when people first see it, they want to reach out and touch the object. It's just so realistic, and it looks like there's a real object in front of you. It relies on the Unity and Unreal 3D engines in order to generate the 3D image, and you know, designers and creatives in the 3D space are probably already very familiar with these engines. And if you're building your object in another, you know, a CAD tool or something like that, in most cases that object can be output to Unity or Unreal. And we'll talk about that a bit more in some of the use cases. And we're a verified solutions partner of Unity. So if you're following the Unity blog, you may have heard about this product already. So here's a quick summary of the product itself: 15.6-inch 4K LCD, 100% Adobe RGB color gamut, 500 nit brightness, very high contrast. Even the sound is 3D with a 2.1 channel speaker, and it's really a desktop size. It's designed to be there on your desktop, along with your tower PC and a main monitor. It's available to order now, either directly from Sony or from certain distributors, and the price is just under $5,000. So some of the use cases that we wanted to call out here, and you know, of course, this is a brand new content, brand new product category. So how it will be used is certainly going to evolve over the coming years. But here are just a few examples. So first of all, filmmakers and animators. So naturally, Sony Electronics has been working with Sony Pictures on looking at some of the applications for this, and particularly with the Ghostbusters team for their new movie, which is coming out later this year, Ghostbusters Afterlife. And the producers and animators have been using this device for pre-visualization of 3D models that are used in the movie. And we hope to have some more news about that coming in the next few days. But they've already recognized, the producers of the movie have already recognized that this is a new way of visualizing 3D generated concepts and characters, and with more and more movies being created virtually through animation or virtual production techniques. We see this ability to pre-visualize without having to put on a 3D headset is a really convenient way of visualizing both in the production process and on set. Next, for the automotive industry, we've worked with Volkswagen, their R&D lab in the Bay Area, and they've identified several potential applications for this product. In the design process, this can be a good way, as you can see from the image there. Anybody in the design lab can see a 3D image, and you know, there's no barrier to that. There's no inconvenience of putting on glasses in order to see an image. So this is perfect for management presentations and anything where viewing in 3D of a new design, something that does not yet exist in 3D, can be beneficial. During the R&D phase, individual 3D parts can be checked, and you can see things, discover anomalies that would not be visible on a 2D display. And then even at the dealership, there are potential opportunities for configure to order systems so that customers can see the vehicle and visualize color and interior options, which may not be physically available in the dealer. So we're very pleased with our partnership with Volkswagen, and they see a lot of opportunities for this product. Next, in architecture, clearly anybody using CAD systems in architecture to design and visualize buildings and cityscapes and interiors, there's a natural opportunity for this product to be able to share those 3D images, which is not easy in 2D unless you're actually an architect and can understand how the 2D image might be realized in 3D. This is a good way for architects to present to their clients something that is that looks real, even though it may be many months or years from actually being realized. And the same with product design. You can see 3D views of a product that's still in the design phase, and visualize any changes, color, texture, materials that you might want to make. And again, there's really no display, glasses-free display that can deliver the level of quality and texture that an industrial designer would be looking for until this display came along. And then for AR and VR content creators, they can certainly view their work and preview their work on a head-mounted display. But if you're doing that 8 hours a day or maybe more, it's going to get pretty tiring. So we think there are applications for using the spatial reality display as a way to quickly check your work without needing to put on a headset every time. So we've been very humbled to receive so many compliments and positive reviews and awards across the industry. So from the film industry, you know, great comments from them, from architecture. CG Architect called it groundbreaking. Engadget said this was the closest they'd seen to a holographic screen. And as John mentioned at the beginning, we've received Best of Show for Infocom 2020 and CES Best of Innovation for, for 2021. So very pleased and honored to have received these. So finally, my last slide here today. So this is available now directly from Sony Direct at the URL that you can see there. If you want to find out more about it, you can send us an email or add to the chat in this webinar, and you can also sign up for more notifications and information about the product. So, John, have there been any questions?
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, absolutely. We've had several questions. There are a couple that we've answered privately in the chat, but I think that there were a couple recurring questions, so I'd like you to answer them live here, so to speak. We've got a question from Doug, from Robert, and also from Kevin, all asking about wearing, if the viewer is wearing glasses, and if there's any impact to the performance or the experience.
No. So, obviously in an office environment, we know that a lot of people are going to be wearing glasses or even contact lenses. And I think as long as the lenses in your glasses are transparent and not sunglasses, which you're unlikely to be wearing sunglasses in an office. But anyway, just to make that point, as long as the sensor on the display can see your eyes, even if it's through the lens of eyeglasses, then it works just the same.
Great. Question from Michael asks, what makes this display unique from other 3D displays on the market?
Yeah, so I think the key thing is the eye sensing technology. So some of the other displays out there, they don't use eye sensing. They just kind of take a guess at where the user might be and present a number of different images simultaneously, and hope that two of those images line up with where your eyes are. The drawback with that is that by doing that, you have to present a very large number of images on the same set of pixels at the same time, and that results in a huge reduction in the resolution of the image that's being displayed. On the Sony Spatial Reality display, we're just displaying two images, left and right, at the same time, and that means that we can leverage as much of the 4K resolution as possible to deliver a very high quality stereoscopic image. And I think you really need to see that in person, and there are a number of opportunities around the country to do that, lockdowns permitting. But yeah, in principle, that's the unique point of this display.
Great, Nick. Let's see. There is another recurring question, several questions. Zach and several others are asking about plans for future sizes.
Well, we're really very focused right now on this desktop form factor. I think this is really the most convenient way of delivering something that is that is useful to a 3D designer, and at a price point that is that is within the bounds of what a 3D designer might be looking for. As you go very much larger, obviously the price increases quite dramatically, not just because of the size, but also in order to get the same kind of resolution that we're delivering with this product, you would need to drastically increase the resolution of the display to get the same pixel density. So, for example, you need to jump to 8K, and that that would end up with a very, very expensive display, albeit a larger size. So, I think this is where our focus is for now.
Great, thanks, Nick. Question from Michael. Are there any locations in the US where this can be viewed or seen in person?
Yes, so we have locations. So Sony has demonstration facilities. Again, this is subject to stay-at-home orders, so I can't say for sure whether these are open at any particular point. But you can inquire with our srdisplay@sony.com email to confirm that. But we have display facilities in LA and in San Jose, and I believe B&H is showing it in New York at the B&H studio, and more coming soon.
Great. Couple of other questions. We've had a question from several attendees asking about surgical applications. Has there been any of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're certainly looking at that. We think that's a great opportunity. You know, this display is really based around Unity and Unreal, and you know, those are not 3D rendering tools typically used by the medical industry. But you know, there are ways of bringing DICOM images, for example, which are commonly used by surgeons or radiographers or others in the medical field, bringing those images into Unity and Unreal. So yeah, that's definitely something that we're interested in. And you know, if there are any system integrators out there that want to talk to us about this, then yeah, we'd definitely encourage them to get in touch with us.
Fantastic. Question, let's see here. Question from Dave asks about how do two or more viewers use the same display?
Yeah, so this is really designed for a single user as as part of their desktop setup. So you know, if you are in an environment where you're with another person and want to show them the image, then you know, once a second person sits in front of the display, or you know, their face comes into view of the display, then the sensor will lock on to that second person rather than the first person. But it's really a one at a time display kind of experience, and you know, very much suited to the times we're living in, where a lot of us are just working on our own at our homes.
Yeah, indeed. Question, if a person is visually handicapped with only one eye, will the screen simply appear flat and two-dimensional?
Yeah, well, it's so yes, it will. It is presenting a stereoscopic image in much the same way as, you know, as a typically sighted person would see stereoscopic images in the real world. So somebody with that visual impairment that you mentioned is going to see the image very much as they would see the real world, with, you know, with just one plane of the image. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think we've got some additional information here. Dennis from your team sent a message in on the chat here and said that with one eye you'd still get motion parallax. So just wanted to add that as well. Garrick,
yeah, I think that's correct. Yes.
Garrick asks, we can see and move the object, but what about looking around the space from the object's point of view?
Looking around the space from the object's point of view. So I think it, you know, that really comes down to what your 3D object is, you know, what you have created. If you've created, for example, an interior of a building, and you wanted to be able to fly through that interior, or navigate, look around in 360 at the interior of a building, for example. You can do that. You would create that, and if you're creating it in one of the architectural tools like Revit or SketchUp, and output that to Unity, you would see that in 3D. You would see a 3D interior from, for example, the perspective of somebody standing in the middle of that interior. I don't know if that answers the question.
I think it does. Great. Thank you. Question from Jason asking, are there any residential or consumer applications that have been considered or envisioned?
Well, this product is also available in Japan, and a lot of our early customers in Japan, as I understand it, are amateur creators of 3D objects in Unity or Unreal. So for the people who are really huge fans of anime, creating their own anime characters in 3D and viewing them on this display. So yeah, I think for some of those specialized applications, there's definitely kind of amateur or semi-pro sort of use cases, and maybe there's there's a similar type of scenario in the US market as well. But our initial focus is very much on these B2B type applications of architects, designers, movie production, etc.
Sure. Question from Paul asking, in a dealership setting, is there any thought to a touch application or a touch overlay? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, very good question. Yeah, so what we've been thinking, and we have a number of demonstrations that that kind of showcase this, is using Leap Motion, which is a gesture-based control system. So you just plug in the Leap Motion controller into your PC, and if you've built your 3D model to accept Leap Motion commands, then you can use hand gestures. You can create simulated buttons on the screen where you point at the button. You don't actually need to touch the display, but you point at the button, and the button takes some action. So yes, we've definitely thought about that, and in these COVID times, rather than actually touching something physically, you can get the same effect without any touch at all, without any contact, using Leap Motion. So if you're not familiar with Ultraleap and their Leap Motion product, then in the chat you can ask for more details from me, and I can send that over. But yeah, that's a great way of enabling a touch-like interaction.
Fantastic. Dave has a question asking, what kind of camera would be needed to create images and take advantage of this new technology?
Well, we've been working with a lot of motion capture studios who are, who have those big rigs of, 50 to 100 cameras, and are able to, to capture motion of objects or people in a green screen type of environment, and that sort of motion capture can very easily be presented on this display in 3D, of course. So I think that's if you were wishing to capture something from real life, then that's how you would do it. You'd put together a motion capture rig, and capture the motion that way, and then process it in Unity or Unreal and display it on this display.
Fantastic. Question from Kevin: is there any place to see this in Canada?
We are working on that. I don't know if I can give you an update yet, but I think probably the Toronto area, if that works for you. Yeah, if you can write to us, we will arrange that as soon as it's set up.
And another question from Mark, asking how easy would it be to take existing content and modify it for 3D viewing, similar to how movies have been remastered for 3D projection?
Yeah, well, I think from my limited knowledge of how 2D movies are converted to 3D, I think once you've got the 3D movie, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into adding depth to those 2D videos. I know. I think the the step after that is certainly the tricky part of getting that 3D video of kind of left and right eye, depending on how it's been created for 3D, whether it was done for shutter glasses or passive, how you would convert that to Unity or Unreal. So I'm not the expert in that conversion, but I think somebody who is would be able to figure that out. But at the end of the day, this is not really a video device as such. This is a Unity or Unreal rendering device.
Question from Mike, asking, and I think you may have touched on this, actually I think we may have touched on this in one of the videos, but Mike asks, can it be used for remote collaboration, live design applications, and are there any real-time applications?
Yeah, I think if you're creating those applications, then that's not something that Sony does. We sort of rely on whoever is creating applications for remote collaboration. But yeah, if you were to create such an application, then yes, this display could support it. You may have seen in one of the videos the architects who had an office in Japan and an office in Taiwan, and they were placing displays in each of those locations and collaborating that way. I don't know that there's a way of doing that in real time as such, but I think if you are both looking at the same 3D render and each person at the end point is able to rotate it and zoom it and look at the details and communicate about that through through WebEx or whatever, then I think that's the first step towards this kind of 3D remote collaboration.
Excellent. Well, Nick, it looks as if we're at the end of our questions. I'll give one last minute. I will mention that I did put in the chat the contact information, the email address. Just wanted to confirm. There's a typo in the first one, but then it was corrected. Just wanted to make sure everyone's aware. It's srdisplay@sony.com. If you'd like to arrange a demo or talk to speak with a salesperson. And yeah, with that, I don't see any other questions coming in. Just to let everyone know, as always, we've captured everyone's questions and contact information. So if there's any follow-up necessary, we will do so. And with that, we thank everyone for their time and for their interest. As always, we know your time is valuable, and we thank you for taking the time each week to spend it with us. Little commercial for next week. We'll be doing we'll be doing a joint webinar with our friends at Kramer on their brainware control system that will live on Sony Pro Bravia SoC, and we'll show you how to control third-party devices just by using their brainware firmware and our Sony Pro Bravia as a platform. So with that, I wish everyone a safe, healthy, and productive week, and we'll see you next week back here for Sony Tech Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.